Now look at this. Next, let's continue further. Now, now we're trying to focus on these two tables. Exactly. What he's saying is, say my attribute table has got M1, M2, M3. So you'll assign table will have M1, M2, M3, 2, 3, 4. Now when you load text data, it has got M1, M2, M3 and M4. So SI table will still include M4. I told you, you'll have SID for every material occurrence either in attribute table or SI table or architect table and all the three also. So it should have them. Okay. Okay, was fine. Now if we are focusing on this part of it now, only the tables, what is part of cube, then we'll combine both. Yeah. What is that you'll have in the cube is fact table and dimension tables. Only two tables, fact table and dimension tables. For now, understand there is only one fact table, but when you get on system, I'll open up that later. But one fact table and maximum up to 16 dimension tables you will have. Okay. Now we are trying to open up the fact table and the dimension table all together. Okay. And now I'm opening in this slide. I'm trying to open up the fact table. Fact table ఉంటుంది. Actually, when you create a cube, when you activate the cube, yesterday I've done this. It actually creates this fact tables and dimension tables in the back end. No create చేయవు. నువ్వు ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్లో క్యూబ్ చేస్తుంటే లోపల ఆ ఫ్యాక్ట్ టేబుల్ డైమెన్షన్ టేబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుంటాయి. ఎలా క్రియేట్ అవుతాయి, ఎలా ఉంటాయని చూస్తున్నాం. ఓకే. Now, any table inside a cube, whether it is fact table or dimension table, can hold maximum of 255 columns only. That is a limitation of the database. Limitation of database bus. Okay. So it's fixed. It can only, any table which is inside the cube can only have max 255. ఎందుకంటే when you try to join the tables, dimension table and the fact tables, the number of columns will go beyond and the join fails up if you have more than these columns. రెండు టేబుల్స్ జాయిన్ చేసినాం అనుకోండి, ఇక్కడ దీంట్లో 255 దాంట్లో 250 అంటే అప్పటికే నీకు 500కి వెళ్ళిపోద్ది. అప్పుడు జాయిన్ ఫెయిల్ అయిపోద్ది. ఇట్ కెనాట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ జాయిన్ బియాండ్ దోస్ కాలమ్స్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద లిమిటేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద డేటాబేస్, దట్ యూ కెన్ ఓన్లీ హ్యావ్ a table with 255 columns max inside the cube. I am not targeting a attribute table. I am only focusing on dimension table or fact table can only have 255 columns in it. Out of this 255, 6 columns will be used by the system internally, and you can only use 249. You can only use what? 249. Then I told you in the initial classes we can have a composite key. What is composite key? When two columns together act as primary key, we call this composite key. I told you we can have a composite key of max 16 columns in it, not more than that. We can only have a table with max of 16 keys together as primary key, which is what? Max, that is the limitation of database again. Okay, now what is trying to do? What are the 16 columns you can handle it as composite key? For all the 16, we are going to use those 16 for what? What is this? Dimension keys. We are going to have those, all those 16 columns which can act as primary key. We are going to have dimension keys in it. And remaining how many are left out was 233. And we are going to fill those 233 columns with key figures in it. That's why whenever I am creating a cube, maximum we can have only 233 key figures in a cube. Why? Your fact table 255, 6 are used internally for the system purpose. How many are left out? 249. Out of 249, you can use 16 columns. 16 columns can act as primary key, so 16 columns are blocked for dimensions. You might create 5 dimension tables, but it will still, 16 columns are blocked. I cannot use for other key figures. 16 columns are blocked for dimension keys, that's it. Whether you use it or not, it's blocked. So remain 233, you can fill that with key figures in it. That's why you can create a cube with max of 233 key figures. Okay, boss. Now look at this. So this is that's how, if you understand this, then the fact table structure looks like this. Look at this. You'll have dimension key 1, dimension key 2, dimension key 3, key 4, key 5, key atla 16 dimension key columns ఉంటాయి. రిమైనింగ్ 233 కాలమ్స్లో 233 కీవర్డ్స్ పెట్టవచ్చు, పెడితే ఉంటాయి, లేకపోతే ఖాళీ ఉంటుంది కాలం. ఓకే బస్. నవ్ సార్ ఆ కీ ఏం చేస్తుంది చూడు బస్. వాట్ డస్ దిస్ డైమెన్షన్ కీ ఇన్ ద ఫ్యాక్ట్ టేబుల్ డూ? ఈచ్ డైమెన్షన్ కీ ఇన్ ద ఫ్యాక్ట్ టేబుల్ will connect to one dimension table. Each dimension key in the fact table will connect to one dimension table. అంటే ఫ్యాక్ట్ టేబుల్లో ఉన్న ఒక్కొక్క డైమెన్షన్ కీ కాలం ఒక డైమెన్షన్ టేబుల్కి కనెక్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఇప్పుడు నేను 16 డైమెన్షన్ కీస్ ఉండొచ్చు అని అనుకో, అప్పుడు ఒక్కొక్క డైమెన్షన్ కీ ఒక్కొక్క డైమెన్షన్ టేబుల్ కనెక్ట్ అయిందంటే ఎన్ని డైమెన్షన్ టేబుల్స్ ఉండొచ్చు? 16. అది కాన్సెప్ట్. చూడు I have a dimension key called dim underscore key 1, and this will connect to one dimension table with primary key foreign. So in this dimension table, what is the primary key here? Dim underscore key 1, that is used here. So will that be foreign key? With primary key foreign key, these two tables are linked up, dimension table and fact table. This dimension key will be available in both the tables, dimension table as well as fact table, which is linking up both the tables. Okay, so each dimension column, key column in the fact table will connect to one dimension table, and 16 are blocked for it. If you use all the 16, it means you are using all the 16 dimension tables. Okay boss? Yeah? Any doubt here boss? Now I'm opening up the dimension table boss. Again, is my dimension table is a table inside a cube? Yes or no? So even this can have 255 columns in it. Okay, out of 255, 6 columns are blocked for the system, and how many are left out? 249 bus. Ikkade idokka point, 249 bus. Out of 249, one column is used for what? The dimension key, which is used to connect my fact table and the dimension table bus. And how many are left blank? 248 bus. How many are left out? 248 now. Now I can fill this 248 with 248 SID columns bus. That's why one dimension, since there are 248 columns blank, if I fill this 248 columns with 248 SID tables, it means I can connect to 248 SID tables from one dimension. I will come to that top. This okay, till dimension key untundi, 248 columns blank untundi అని అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. Okay, so now knowing that fact, now next step ahead. Okay, so I'll have fact table with what? Dimension keys and key figures. Each dimension key in my fact table will connect to one dimension table, and in the dimension table I'll have 214 columns again. One column is already used up with what? Dimension key, and remaining 248 columns are blank. Okay boss. Now look at this. Now this dimension table will start getting connected to what? SID table boss. So when I connect, look at this, when I say connect this SID table to this dimension and table, this SID column will come into this dimension table as foreign key to connect the tables. Should was SID underscore column underscore 1 is coming into this table, which is so that this column is connecting to what? To this SID table. Ante each SID column is connecting to one SID table. So how many columns are blank like that? 248. If I go about filling all my 248 with 248 different SID columns, and each SID column connected to one SID table, so how many SID tables am I connecting first? 248. Dimension table లో 248 columns లో ఒక కాలం వచ్చేసి డైమెన్షన్ కి అయిపోయింది, ఇంకా 248 మిగిలి ఉన్నాయి. ఈ 240 మిగిలిందంటూ ఇప్పుడు ఒక SID టేబుల్ని ఒక డైమెన్షన్ టేబుల్ కనెక్ట్ చేస్తే ఒక SID కాలం ఫిల్ అవుతుంది. అటు ఒక్కొక్క SID కాలం డైమెన్షన్ టేబుల్లో ఒక్కొక్క SID కాలం ద్వారా ఒక SID టేబుల్ కనెక్ట్ చేస్తే అట్లా 240 SID కాలమ్స్ పెడితే ఎన్ని SID టేబుల్స్ కనెక్ట్ చేయొచ్చు? మ్యాక్సిమం 240. అది లింక్. 240 SID టేబుల్స్ కనెక్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. సో SID టేబుల్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఇన్ఫార్బిట్ నథింగ్ బట్ మాస్టర్ డేటాబేస్. అది అట్లా రావాలి లింక్. ఓకే బస్. ఓకే, ఐ డోంట్ నో హౌ మెనీ ఆఫ్ యూ రిమెంబర్ ఎస్టర్డే వెన్ ఐ వాస్ క్రియేటింగ్ క్యూ. నేను డైమెన్షన్ ఒక టైము యూనిట్ డేటా ప్యాడ్ కాకుండా ఒక డైమెన్షన్ 1 అని ఉంది. ప్రోడక్ట్, కస్టమరు, డాక్యుమెంట్ నెంబర్ 3 దానికి వేసిన గుర్తుందా? This is one dimension. So each dimension here will be creating one dimension table in the back end. దీంట్లో ఏం చేసినాం బస్? 3 1 2 3 అంటే when I assign these three characteristics to the dimension అంటే ఇంటర్నల్గా అర్థం ఏమంటే కస్టమర్ will have SI table, that SI table is connected to this dimension. Product will have SI table, the SI table of product is connected to this dimension. And sales document number will have SI table, the SI table of sales document number is connected to this dimension. So if I open up this dimension table, it will have one dimension key, one SID of customer connecting to SI table of customer table, one SID of product connecting to SI table of product, one SI column sales document number connecting to SI document number. And each of this information can have its own attribute table, text table, hierarchy table. That's the concept. Any confusion was here? When I say assign the characteristic to the dimension ante internal game aydante a characteristic sambandhinchina SID table by ఆ dimension table ki itla link up అవుతుంది through SID columns. Okay, so now did you understand why 16 dimensions, why 248 SID tables only to the dimension? Now ఒక చిన్న క్యూబ్, now we formatted a cube. Let's say ఏం చేసినాం చూడండి, we create two master data. Now the complete schema we are referring, I'm connecting both master data, fact అన్ని connect చేస్తున్నాం. Now look at this, I've got fact table with how many dimension keys in it, dimension K1, K2, so how many dimensions was 2, and rest all key figures, price, quantity and amount. I've got key figures in 3 key figures in it. And when I have 2 dimension keys, how many dimension tables should I have? 2, because dimension key will connect one dimension table, dimension key 2 will connect to one other dimension table. So I got dimension table 1 and I got dimension table 2. Yeah. Now if you see in this dimension key, I've got primary key as dimension key 1 and I've got one column of SID. What is this column? When you see SID underscore MNO, it means what? This column is connecting to what? SID table of metal number, and SID table of metal number will connect to metal number, which is nothing but metal number has got its own attribute table and text table. Arthamaitha link mottam. Same way now dimension key 2 has connected to one dimension table, and this dimension table has got SID underscore CNO, which is connected to what? SID table of customer number, and this SID table of customer number indicates customer number characteristic, which can have its own attribute table, text table. So now customer number has got attribute table and text table. Is this clear everyone? Done? దీంట్లో ఏమైనా డౌట్ ఉందా చెప్పు, ఏదంటే చెప్పు అడుగు ఇప్పుడు. ఫైన్, నాకు డౌట్ ఉంది. My doubt is how many SID tables can I link up to one dimension? 240, right? Then instead of using 2 dimension tables here, I can use 1 dimension table and connect SID table of customer and SID table of metal number to same dimension, right? ఇట్లా చేయకూడదా? ఇది చూడు ఏం తప్పుందా చూడు, చూడు బొమ్మ చూడు ఏం చేసింది. How many dimension keys do I have in my fact table? 1. So it connects to how many dimension table? 1 dimension table. Now in my dimension table I've got 1 column used for dimension key, remaining 248 are blank. But out of 248, how many columns am I using here? 2. One is filled with SID of customer, one is filled with SID of metal number. So SID of customer number will connect to SID table of customer, SID of metal number will connect to SID table of metal number. Can't I do this? Why can't I have design like this? Yes, itla possible, itla possible. మరి అయితే ఏది మంచిది ఏది చెడ్డది? How do you say which is more optimized one? అంటే బేసిక్గా when you say optimized, you say your design is optimized when it occupies less space. Yes. And when you say it is not optimized when it is occupying more space. So now when you look at designing of the cube, you should be, when you want to design an optimized cube, you should design a cube in such a way that you'll accommodate more characteristics or more analysis but occupying less space. That's the concept. అది చూద్దాం how to do that. But did you understand the schema completely? ఇప్పుడు చూడండి, నాకు I want to show you how is my data getting filled అనేది కావాలి. This is all Excel. What is the అదే చదువు, అది పెద్ద టాపిక్ చెప్తాను, అదే చెప్పాలి. అంటే ఆ క్వశ్చన్ నీకు మైండ్లో వస్తే విల్ కెన్ డిస్కస్ ఆన్ దట్ టాపిక్. లెట్స్ దిస్ ఆర్ మై టేబుల్స్. యారో మార్క్స్ పెట్టాలంటే పెడతాను. you're okay with this? Arrow marks తెలుసు కదా నీకు, I don't waste time. Okay, now let's say this is my data like this bus. Okay, let's say this is my structure created in my BW bus, and this is all cube. ఇదంతా క్యూబ్ కదా బస్. And rest all is what? This is what? Outside a cube. And only the part what I blocked is inside a cube bus. On a bus done. Let's say let's say you assume this sheet has a different source, like ECC, Oracle, or whatever it is bus. I got two metal M1 and say M2 and say M3 I've got. Okay. Say type as type 1 something, type 2 and type 3. What is the other unit? EA, and price is 10, 12, 13, 14. It's like data. I got data like this. In what? In some source. Then what you'll do? After creating metal master, you'll create data source. You'll connect both of them with what? Transformation, info package, DTP you run. Then what happens? All this data is extracted. That's only use on topic how to load. But all this data is extracted and loaded to what? Where does it get loaded? Bus? It gets loaded to metal master like this. How to load in the system, that nav is loaded in the chapter and the concept. When you load, it comes into this box like this. Yeah. Now when this happen, what will happen bus? What will happen bus? Ila jariginapudu em avutundi bus? Should it generate SIDs bus? Yes. Appudu em avutundi? Internal, that is what you do, and system does by inserting this. It generates number 2, 3 and what? It generates SID like this. Whenever you load your master data, system will be generating SIDs in the SID table. It's clear? Okay. Let's say you also have some descriptions. M1, M2 and M3. Let's say I have only in English. Okay. EN and EN and something. ABC, XYZ, PQ or some description. Suppose if I have M4 here, English something say, will it have one more SID table here? It will what? M4 and SID will be what? 4. It will be like this. So whether for an occurrence of either an attribute table or text table or in both, it generates one SID. ఏ ఒక్క దాంట్లో ఉన్నా రెండిట్లో ఉన్నా ఒక SID జనరేట్ చేస్తుంది. ఇట్లా మాస్ డేటా ఉన్నప్పుడు SID టేబుల్ జనరేట్ అవుతుంది, అది కాన్సెప్ట్. ఓకే. Okay. Now let's say I'm extracting customer data. Don't worry now, attributes. Okay, sorry. What is attributes? Region and group. Okay. South, north. Group 1, group 2, group 3 something. So this is the data I've got in my source. Okay. Again, what do? You extract the customer master and load it to what? Into customer master database. So what should happen in the backend? Yes. SID will be filled in what? Customer SID table as what? You confused. It will be 2, 3, 4 in the system, but for you not to get confused, I'm putting 21, 22, 23. It could be any number, but number comes up. Ante. Number to confuse out. SID should be 5. This one? Okay. Some number. Okay, now some number comes out. That's it. In a serialized fashion, it brings in one number like that. Okay. So like this, I didn't load any language, but will it still have SIDs from the what? From the attributes. Okay, that's expect. Text mali load cheyachile. So this is how whenever you load master data into BW, system will generate SIDs in the SID table. Is it clear about concept? Okay, good. Now we are going to focus on what will happen when I load transact. For cube, we will be loading what? Transaction database. I told you, cube is only loaded with what? Transaction database. Now let's take some transaction in the source. Source low. Metal M1 is purchased by C1 with some price 5 and 10, and let's say the quantity was so the amount is what? 50. This is transaction jarigindi. With this master data, they actually performed one transaction like this. M1, C1, 5, 10, 50. Okay, boss. Now how is this transaction loaded into my cube? We'll extract this from file or DB, ECC, whatever it is. You'll be loading it to what? Cube. How does that get loaded? What is metal number here? M1 కదా. First it goes to metal master. చూడు, అండర్స్టాండ్ ద ప్రాసెస్ బస్. దాంతోనే నెక్స్ట్ అనాలిసిస్ ఉంది మొత్తం. ఓకే. It goes to metal master. Find out, do we have metal number M1 bus? We have it? Yes or no? Yes. Then it goes to the corresponding SID table. Finds out what is the SID of this M1. What is the SID? 2. Then it goes to the corresponding dimension table. చూడు నా vocabulary చూడండి. Then it goes to the corresponding dimension table where my metal is assigned. For this SID2, it does generate one dimension ID again, which is again a number, which could be any number, okay, and places that number in the fact table. Now, what is the customer here? C1. Again, it goes to what? Now, this time it goes to customer master, finds whether do we have C1 or not. If you have C1, it goes to corresponding SID table, finds out what is SID for C1, 21. Then it goes to corresponding SID table where this, dimension table where this customer has been assigned. For this SID 21, it does generate some dimension, some number, okay, and puts that number into what? Fact table 61. And next is what? 5, 10, 50, and this keyword straight away go into fact table 5, 10, and 50. Now with this, if you see all the tables inside a cube, do they contain numerics only? So when you try to process this cube, it will be faster because it doesn't have any alphanumerics. And we are able to make sure that there is no alphanumeric data because of introduction of SID tables. I'll come to that. Okay. Now what is happening now? You should understand the flow now. When you load your master data, SID is generated. When you load your transaction data to the cube, based on the SIDs, dimension IDs are generated in the dimension table and uses them in the fact table. This is the concept. Generally, in the depth of everyone knows this. So, SIDs are generated when you load master data and the dimension data is generated when you load transaction data. But internal concept is when the when you load your master data, SIDs are generated, and when you load your transaction data to the cube, based on the SIDs, it generates dimension IDs in the dimension table and then places them into fact table. This is the concept. Okay, Nana? Next, now M1, now C2, M1, let's say this time C2, 6, 4, 24. Let's say this is another transaction performed. Now, if you load this into cube, how does it get inserted? It goes to metal master, finds out do we have M1? Yes. And then it goes to corresponding SID table. For M1, it finds SID what? 2. Then it goes to the corresponding dimension table where this metal number is assigned. Then for SID2, do we already have dimension ID? Yes. Then it uses the same. It does not insert one more. 41. Then what is the customer involved in the transaction? C2. It goes to for C. Do we have C2 here? Yes. It goes to corresponding SID table. Finds out what is SID for C2? 22. For SID 22, it is already not yet generated. So it does generate one more new dimension ID, then uses that in the fact table. 6, 4, 24. Okay, Nanda? M1, C1, 7, 3, 20. Is it possible that same material is purchased by same customer again? M1 already SID undi, SID the dimension already generate ayipindi. C1 ikkada undi, C1 SID undi, for the SID dimension is already generated. So what does it do? 41, 61, 7, 3, 21. I know some of the doubt amount is primary ki kada itla common unnai ikkada 41 61 ikkada 41 61 kada. So I know you are getting the doubt, but it actually maintains one more column called, I told you, data packet dimension, request ID, all this. When you load differently, this will have R1, this will have what? R2. In that case it is different. Don't worry, it will basically differentiate on the request wise. Don't worry on the uniqueness. Okay? It will maintain uniqueness. Okay. Okay, boss. Now let's say I am loading another transaction, say M9, C9, 8 to 16. Now the question is, can we load the transaction data to the cube for which there is no master data maintained? That's the question. Okay. If you want, you can stop it loading. You'll have property, say do not load. And it will throw an error saying no SID for C9. No SID for M9 cannot load an error. But if you say allow it to load, load JN, if I allow it to load, then what happens? It does load in. Okay, then how does it load? That's the point. Now look at this. If you allow it to load, how does it load? It goes here, finds, do we have metal number M9 here? No. And you want it to load still. Yes, then what it does? It will insert the characteristic value as M9. Then for M9, it does generate one SID as a, 6. And it goes to correct dimension table. For 6, it generates one dimension ID 42 and uses a 42 in my fact table. Now what is C9? Do we have customer C9 here? No. It explicitly insert that characteristic value and then generate an SID for C9 as what? 24, and you go to this dimension table. For 24, it does generate one a dimension record, dimension entry, and then puts the dimension entry into this 8 to 16. That's it. So if you load your transaction data without master data, it explicitly inserts that characteristic value generate an SID for it, and then based on that SID it generates a dimension in the dimension table and uses the dimension table into fact table. Endukante now look at this. Now I have generated SID for M9. See, I have generated SID for M9. Why? Because SID is specific to this metal number, not the attributes. Yes or no, boss? SID అనేది M9 సంబంధించింది కానీ attributes సంబంధించింది కదా. I don't have to know attributes to get the SID out. SID is based on the key, not on the attributes, boss. That's why explicitly inserting metal M9 it generates an SID. Okay. Now later next day M9 entry has come in. Okay. Say type 3 again. EA price is 50. Now next day new entry in the master data is formed in the source. Now I can load master data again next day. So when I bring this, what happens? Now master data will go and override this. M9 overwrite, it starts filling those attributes, but will it generate new SID or SID is same? SID is same because metal number has not changed, only attributes have changed. Attributes have no way relationship to the SID table. Itla we can also load your transaction data without master data also. Did you understand this concept? Pakka.
Last loading of transaction data without master data.
If you load your transaction data without master data, what means you don't have the respect to master, but you're still loading the transaction to the cube. It goes to the master data, explicitly inserts that characteristic value. Then for this value, it does generate an SID in the SID table, picks the SID, goes to the corresponding dimension table where the SID is connected, generates a dimension ID and uses the dimension ID into fact table. So now tell me, knowing this, now if I give you a chance of loading, so you have to load master data and you have to load transaction data from a source bus. Will you prefer loading master data first and then transaction data, or transaction data first and master data first? So at the point of performance, we will always load master data first and then load transaction data first. Because if I load my transaction without master data, the performance will go down because it has to explicitly generate SID, then generate dimension ID, then use it into fact table. It takes a lot of time. That's why as a point of performance, we always load master data first, make sure the SIDs are generated, then we load transaction data which will generate dimension ID based on the SID. So then the loading performance is better. Okay. And one more point I proved is master data is overwrite. When I say overwrite, say I have the metal master as M9 already. If I load the metal master again with M9, it goes and overwrites that record. It goes and overwrites it. For example, now in the source, the product of M type is changed to type 1 now. Okay. And the price is changed to what? Let's say 60. If I load this metal record again, what happens? Since the metal number M9 is already there, it goes and overwrites it. So overwrite aitandi. Same M9 already undi kabatti overwrite aitandi. So the property of master is always overwrite. But when it comes to cube, it will be adding records to the. It will be adding bus. It will not be overwriting. Same customer, same metal, it might perform n number of transactions, but it will still adding as a new record. Doesn't understand that as a duplicate record. Because same customer can buy same metal n number of times bus. So logically we don't consider that as duplicate record. So it will keep on adding the new data into the queue. History maintain just sound. Yes, it will maintain history, right? When I keep adding it up, it is maintaining history, right? Inside fact, inside cube. Master will not maintain history. It will maintain only the latest truth, present truth. Yeah. But you can still do model to hold history also. We'll see that later. Did you understand this point? Yeah. If you know this point, now next logic is we need to understand this. Suppose if the design is this. If this is my design, how does it fill my data? Next. What is my cube? Only this one. I've got only what? Only one dimension table, one fact table. If my design is like this, how does it generate the dimension addition? No point. Okay, boss. But market is same. Yes or no, boss? ఇదంతా సేమ్ కదన్నా, ఇది డిఫరెంట్ సేమ్లే. See, I've just copied the same master data, no difference. Okay, let it be there because market is not yet changed; it is same structure only. But this is different design where customer and metal are assigned to same dimension. If that is the case, how does it load my data? Now look at this. let's say I load this transaction M1, C1, 5, 10, 50 bus. For M1, what is the SID bus? 2. For C1, what is the SID bus? 21. For SID 2 and 21 combination, it does generate one unique dimension ID, say 41, and uses that in the fact table. So now, since a customer and material are assigned the same dimension table, for each combination of it, for both the combination of SID customer and material, it does generate one unique dimension ID combination and uses that in the fact table. Okay. If I load this M1 C2, then what happens now? For M1, what is the SID bus? 2. What is C2? What is the SID bus? What? 22. Now for the combination of 2 and 22, it does generate one dimension ID 42 and uses that in the fact table 42. I know this is 5, okay, 10, and then what? 50. This is 6, 4, 24. Okay, boss. Suppose now, let's say I perform the same record again, M1 C1 again. So it goes to the table. For M1, what is the SID bus? 2. For C1, what is the SID bus? 21. For the combination of SID 2 and 21, the dimension ID is already generated. So will it reuse the same or will it generate one more? Reuse the same, yeah. So 41, what was it? 7, 3, 21 something. This is how it generates dimension IDs when you have two SIDs connected to same time. When you have multiple SID tables connected to same dimension, it does generate dimension ID based on every combination of the SID. For each combination, it generates one unique dimension ID. అర్థమైందా కలదండి షూర్గా ఇది మళ్ళీ